another episode of Chatty Broads with Becca and Jess.
Hi, hey, hello.
Hello, howdy, ho. I mean, Becca, I will say that these past two episodes of Bachelor in Paradise have really erupted in the Bachelor world.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. The amount of Twitter warfare, the amount of people being like, how has this show now gotten so obviously produced? Like, what direction are we taking right now? There are some wild choices that are being made right now in this franchise.
Do you think there's wild choices aside from the whole Wells acting thing?
You know what it is? It's just like the franchise has now decided that after, it was almost like after Stagecoach and then everything got brought in outside of the Bachelor world into BIP. That whole thing went down with Blake. And then the next season, then everyone is on patrol calling out any possible outside relationship. And that clearly didn't work.
Yeah, that was
so it's
horrible.
almost like now they're doing this weird, like we're going to fully control the narrative that's going on and have like minimal conversations that are still confusing about what's actually going on and keep kind of the audience out of it. But then we're going to punish Sally by like creating some wild story about her suitcase.
I haven't been confused, though. I will say I like it because I haven't been confused about anyone except Romeo and Kira and Jill.
Yes, I understand. Yeah,
Everyone else.
That's the big confusing one.
There's that one, which now it's kind of,
But then there's also like the Aaron Genevieve piece because that was brought up at
although I feel like what she said, I believed her when she said like we've only hung out a couple times, so like and like so I kind of buy that.
Well, apparently Aaron then had gone on talking it out a while ago and said that him and Genevieve, it had been like they ran into each other at a bar and they took like a video together, but like they didn't really know each other at all. And they took some photos or something like that. So that's what he was saying as well. But then clearly at the Women Tell All, Shanae decides to tell the world.
Which I didn't believe Genevieve at that time when I saw that. I thought Genevieve, I was like, oh my God, like her reaction totally shows they hooked up. But now I totally believe her.
I think so too. Yeah. Because I think in that moment, her reaction was likely shock that was coming out of Shanae's mouth.
Right.
And I think the timing of it was just unfortunate too because the photos had just come out of her and Aaron. So everyone was like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, I believed Shanae 100%. And then now looking back on it, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, like like you can I felt like you could also tell from Aaron and Genevieve's, personally, I felt like from their interactions on the beach that they had not hooked up before. Like I felt like they didn't seem like they really had any previous entanglement.
Yeah, I was getting the energy that it wasn't an entanglement. I was getting the energy that it was like, oh, they've had conversations and they know each other more than someone that doesn't know each other.
Because she was like shocked when he said that he like really wanted to pursue her.
Yes.
She was kind of like, why didn't this ever like come up?
Yes.
So I bought all that. So anyway, all that being said, aside from the Romeo thing, I really like the way they're doing it. And I feel like I'm happy that most of the cast, it does not seem has had serious. Or do you disagree?
No, go ahead.
It doesn't seem like there's been a lot happening leading up to Paradise.
No. Definitely.
In terms of relationships.
Definitely Stagecoach was a thing.
Yeah.
Again this year. It's just been wild to see, and I've been obsessed with Game of Roses, Bachelor Clues posting about this, the contestants really getting vocal on Twitter about production while it's happening for the first time really ever.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, let's get into it.
There was only one that I saw. So tell me if there's anything else. But the one that I saw was Genevieve and Michael going back and forth.
There was that.
Okay, yeah.
I was more referring to the conversation about production.
I haven't seen any of this.
Okay, so basically what ended up happening was after the Sally suitcase situation happened, of course, people are seeing Genevieve, Jill, and Lace going through someone's suitcase.
Oh my God, so rude.
Throwing extensions on the ground.
Yeah, no, totally. I was like, oh my God, they're just like throwing her shit all over the place.
Truly horrific.
Yeah, and also the vibrator thing I thought was like so intrusive and like I thought all that was really messed up.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
as I'm sure most people did.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
as a viewer, you're watching going, are you joking right now?
You half expected them to start pulling out medication, like reading off the labels and being like,
so inappropriate.
Yeah.
So inappropriate. But then the players currently started posting saying things like, do you really think that someone's going to have a waffle iron in their suitcase? Like, do you really think that we all bought what was going on? So what they're pushing is that they knew that this was obviously not Sally's real suitcase with all of her things in it.
do not buy that from Genevieve at all. Genevieve, when Wells was telling his story, was hanging on every single word. Like Genevieve, I don't know about the other girls, Genevieve believed every minute of it.
I fully believe that Genevieve believed Wells' story. Hook, line, and sinker.
Yes.
We were saying it was like seeing like a child hear about Santa Claus for the first time. It's like, what? And what? But I fully believe that.
Yeah.
But the suitcase,
I don't buy it. I don't buy their story.
if they bought that was Sally's suitcase and they were opening it, someone also posted too that you could see that there was like a secured lock on it. So like obviously producers are opening the lock and they're getting pushed to like go through and whatever.
Obviously producers were saying like take stuff out. Like, and I honestly, I think it's more fucked up if it really was her suitcase and producers were having her do that. And I still think it was fucked up to like, Sally's still a person, so even if it was still a fake suitcase, like being like this is her vibrator and stuff like that, to me just felt really messed up on the side of production. But I don't fault if I was in the situation and producers were saying open it, go through it, whatever, even if I did think it was her suitcase, like I probably would still do it, and because that's just kind of like honestly how it goes when you're on the set like that. But I don't buy that they didn't think it was really her suitcase at the time. I do not buy that. I am
going to pray in my spirit that they knew that it was set up by production and it wasn't, because if they really did, to me that's just like the level of crossing a line is so inappropriate. But then Marlena from Clayton's season, who's not on the beach, posted after the suitcase situation basically saying like, hey, you know, you're wondering why we're crying every episode. If you don't do what the producers say, they're going to set you up, basically like they set up Sally.
Yeah.
So they're going to plant this vibrator and they're going to try to, which is also just on the producer's
they're saying
end.
Because Sally didn't do what producers wanted, then they're going to humiliate her?
Yes. So Marlena was talking about that from the Sally perspective of like, oh, Sally, let's remember episode 1 of Clayton, never showed up.
Yeah, I didn't know about any of this.
So she was never at the mansion. And then he tried to give her a rose and she said no. So she didn't maybe go along. And you wonder too, when they're telling this whole wild tale from Wells, if there's pieces of that might be true. Where she maybe was hesitating, all of a sudden had said, yeah, I'll do Bachelor in Paradise. But then was like, well, I don't know. And then, you know, it's like, And so Marlena was saying like, okay, as a contestant, you're going to, no wonder, like, we're going to do what the producers tell us to do so you don't wind up in this situation.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I honestly, like, I do not believe that they didn't think it was her real suitcase. I think that they did. Also, it's not crazy that the waffle maker would be in there because you shoot, like, people do that. Remember, like, when, I'm just thinking from my season, like, one of the girls brought the compact mirror. Like, I can't remember, there was some whole thing. She like brought it to the thing. Like, I don't know. I think that they probably really did think it was her suitcase, to be totally honest. I think they were egged on by producers to go through it. But I honestly, at the end of the day, don't fault them for doing that because, producers are really pushy. And I'll never forget, like I said, the whole thing with making fun of Crystal's voice. And it was like, just do this and then you'll like
be able to sleep.
Yeah, literally. Then you'll be able to sleep. So I
think that's what a lot of them
but I don't fault them.
I think that's what a lot of people were, contestants were alluding to. And then this was the one. So Genevieve had then posted under a photo of herself Tonight is going to be interesting. Please don't come for me when you see me spiraling. Side note, do you really think anybody would put a waffle maker in a suitcase that they're bringing to a beach?
Yes, if it was part of their narrative on the show and they're going to do some bit with it. So I don't buy that whole thing. Like, I know you're trying to make yourself look good, Genevieve, but it's okay, girl. I don't hold it against you for going through the suitcase anyway.
All right.
That's where I stand.
You know what? You would know better. You have done the show. I'm trying to, just for the sake of humanity, I'm like, they did it. They knew it was fake, because that is just so upsetting.
Then again, they might have known it was fake, because also I really don't see them all carrying around a vibrator that they really thought was like a contestant's, because a lot of people are like, so I actually...
Well, and then they had the whole, how Kira, pretended to take it into the boom boom room. Right. And they had brought it then down to the sand.
Yeah. Obviously that was a bit. But at which point those girls also knew that it was all of them, it seemed, except Genevieve, knew that whole thing with Wells was like a bit. Like, they're all sitting there like, bored while that's going on. But also they really like made that suitcase look real, I thought. Like, there was... I love the extensions and all of that stuff.
I was dying during this unbelievable sequence that they put together when Wells, the minutes that we can never get back in our life. Yeah. When then they said, well, if she's not here, why is her suitcase, if she didn't get on the plane, why is her suitcase here? And he's like, we checked it. And I'm like, yeah, because that's what happens with suitcases. If you check them, they automatically arrive to your hotel exact destination in the room.
Yes.
Obviously, we checked it, so obviously it's going to show up. Yes. It gets to where you're going. It knows, because we live in Hogwarts.
Yes.
We live in Harry Potter world where, they fly the suitcase directly into your room. Right. It appears, etc. I'm like, what are we doing right now?
I think the girls really did, though, before that whole ridiculous story. I think that they really thought like Sally was going to show up later. I thought that. Granted, I didn't really get the bit because I didn't watch Clayton's season.
Well, we see in the preview that she is coming.
Oh, see, I didn't know who she was. So I didn't know that she is coming. So she is coming.
She is coming next week. That's why it's like, what is going on with this whole situation?
How do they know that it's like not her suitcase, though?
What do you mean?
Like, why couldn't it be her suitcase?
I'm saying I hope for the sake of humanity.
No, but I mean, like, what if it was her suitcase? Couldn't it actually be her suitcase?
I mean, if it is, that's despicable.
No, I thought
it's despicable.
I thought it was the whole time. So that's why I'm coming at it with that. I actually thought it was hers the whole time because I didn't get the whole thing. Yeah. I thought she was showing up the next day, so I thought it really was her suitcase.
Maybe we'll see an IRL reaction when she shows up of her finding her suitcase. In my opinion,
now that you're saying it probably is a plant.
If we don't see her IRL reaction, that's a plant.
Right.
Like, because you walk in, you see your suitcase and all your shit's everywhere, you're going to have a reaction to that. Right. But of course. Right. If we don't see it, which I believe we will not.
I think you're probably right.
Plant.
You're probably right.
My guess is like producers are like, how Bachelor in Paradise goes? It's wacky. It's fun. We do our funny little intros. Yeah. We're going to pretend this is Sally's suitcase. So have at it. And have fun and be silly and wild. Yeah. And they fully plant it. And then everyone has a good time. And then it makes them look to the audience like they are being super disrespectful of all of her things.
For sure. Well, and also sometimes the boundaries, though, I will say, while filming, are sort of blurred. Like, you're not actually told that it's fake. You're just told, open it. That's the thing. Look, this is the thing. That even if it was fake, no producer, because that's not how the show goes, no producer told them it's not actually her suitcase. That I know for certain. No one said that, because producers do not say that. They go, open it. And then you're like, well, is it really her suitcase? And they go, I don't know, open it. That's what producers do on the show. No one told them it wasn't her real suitcase. I know that. That I know. Anyway, continuing on.
Well, okay, also I have to say about Sally. This is what's so interesting, and I'm so interested to see her on the sand and figure out what in God's name is going on.
On Clayton's?
So on Clayton's season, Sally was a contestant who never got to the mansion because she had been engaged to be married and the wedding was called off. And then she went on the show, and before she got to the mansion, she decided, no, it's too soon. I'm not ready. Okay. So apparently she left. Clayton tried to give her a rose. She said no. She left. I believe then her and her fiance were on again, off again over like the next year. And she was at the Women Tell All.
Okay.
And she was given a hot seat. They cut her out of any of the Women Tell All portion. So it made it look like she wasn't there, and they did not show her hot seat.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So what's going on? And now they do. And now they do this. So what is happening right now?
We'll see when she's on the beach. Okay. But anyway, what you were going to say, I just had to clear that up because I did not actually know any of what was true.
I was just going to mention the Women Tell All, but I found that fascinating. Like, why are they editing her out? Why are they cutting out? I understand that sometimes they have to cut out hot seats, but to edit out a person entirely, like they didn't show her.
It could have been though because they didn't have time for her hot seat, and so like it might just not have made sense. Like it might have been confusing.
But I believe when they were showing the cast, I could be wrong about this, but when they were all the women, that they cut her out. And made it look like she wasn't there. I believe.
Strange. Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. And then also in terms of was there any other production things? So the girls were saying we knew it was fake.
That's what was being alluded to. Sure. Yes. And then the other thing that went wild on Twitter was Justin. After there was a moment where in discussion about Sally, so apparently Sally was at Stagecoach.
Okay.
And Justin and Sally were very into each other.
Yes.
So that's, of course, why Genevieve was nervous about Sally coming down. And then we see a moment where Kira confirms to Genevieve, hey, here's the deal. We were all at Stagecoach together.
He didn't pay attention to anyone else except her.
Justin was fully locked in. And by the way, Kira didn't say anything damning about Justin. She was just letting
They were into each other. They were into each other. They were a thing.
She's letting her friend know, like, hey, just as a heads up, yeah, Sally and him definitely were vibing. Yeah. Then Justin goes on Twitter and says, laughing my fucking ass off, Kira was at Stagecoach, ? This whole story is news to me. Laughy face. Anything for some screen time though, I guess. Sigh. And then Kira responds, you okay, bro? We had several short conversations while there. Get some glasses and a better attitude. Now, as soon as this dropped, I immediately went looking for a photo because I knew there was a group photo that had both of them in it. I remember seeing it because, as you remember, I was at Stagecoach, and the fact of the matter is I saw all of them there. Yes. So I knew Kira was there, and I knew Justin was there, and I saw Sally there as well.
You recognized them.
Well, I hadn't been watching, but Evan was pointing it out. And so Evan was like, oh, she was on. And I knew some of them from some of the later episodes, but Evan was letting me know. And it was all a group of Bachelor people hanging out. Yeah. Now, did I, I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, like, Sure. I saw intimate details of what was going on, but I saw them there. Yes. And maybe Kira and Justin, maybe, there was alcohol. Maybe he doesn't quite remember conversations, whatever.
That is bold to say that is bold of him to immediately claim that she wasn't even there, though. That's like really bold.
Correct. Or to laugh like it's news to me. It's like, okay, well, there definitely were numerous situations where you all were in the same group, even if the group was large. Right. And so then Kira, of course, I right away found the picture. I dug it up and tagged photos, took a screenshot.
Oh my God.
A few hours later, Kira posts that exact photo and it points to her and points to him. And there are a few people away from each other in a group. Funny. And she's like, I was also there with Sally. Yeah. Like we went with together. Sally and a few of the other women.
That's so funny.
So it's like, what you doing right now? And also, again, she didn't say anything like damning about you.
I could see how it would be frustrating for someone to be like, she did say like, he didn't pay attention to anyone else there. Like his only attention was all towards Sally. So I could understand that feeling, even if it's not something that's a character attacking thing of being like, what? I talked to her, like we had a conversation one evening for like 30 minutes. Like, I get that instinct for sure. But yeah, that's like a really bold claim to be like, you weren't even there. What do you have no idea what you're talking about.
My guy, there are photos of all of you together.
And she traveled with Sally. So, but that's a perfect example of something we were talking about before we started recording, of people who have never like gotten any kind of heat on the show before. And so the minute somebody says something like slightly untrue about them or whatever, or an exaggeration, it's like, I'm going to have my day in court and clear this up.
Yeah. It's one of those moments where it's like, you definitely could have just not said anything. And no one would have really batted an eye. But now you making this claim and then Kira being able to pull a photo and be like, what are you talking about, is not a great look.
Let's talk about Justin. Why don't we get into the whole thing with Victoria F and Justin and Genevieve? Can we just talk about all of their situation?
Please, because I mean, my goodness, Genevieve was just the main character through both of these episodes.
Oh yeah,
by the way.
she was.
Genevieve was in every single story. In and out.
We'll talk about her in a minute. First, should we have a little word from our sponsors?
Yes, let's have a little word from our sponsors first. Broads, there is no better feeling on earth than hopping into a bed of freshly made sheets at the end of a long day. No better feeling, okay? And after trying out a lot of amazing different sheets, we found what may just be the best ones out there. So of course, we're going to tell you about them so you can be the judge.
Boll and Branch is the sheets we're talking about. They use 100% organic cotton threads to make their sheets. You will feel the difference. And not only are you going to feel the difference from the very first time you sleep on your Boll and Branch sheets, you're going to continue to feel the difference with each wash, because they're only going to get more soft and more luxurious every time you wash them.
And usually you get the opposite with sheets. The more you wash them, the worse they get. But it is not true with Boll and Branch. Let me say this, okay? I had heard this about Boll and Branch and I was like, okay. Sure. I'm looking into the camera. Okay. It has been amazing to me. Every time I am washing my Boll and Branch sheets, they are cozier and cozier. I don't understand. It's amazing. They are so comfy. But if you don't believe us, go ahead and give them a try. 30 nights risk-free with free shipping and returns on all orders. You'll see for yourself how good they get with each night's sleep. Boll and Branch is also the first 100% organic, fair trade certified bedding company ever. And their bedding is made using 90% less water than conventional production. Plus, they don't use any pesticides or other chemicals usually found in bedding. And if that doesn't help you sleep easy, I don't know what will.
Try the sheets that make fall the coziest season of the year. Get 15% off your first set of sheets and free shipping when you use promo code chatty at bollandbranch.com. That's Boll and Branch, BOLLAND branch.com, promo code chatty.
So broads, there is nothing more important than getting your mental health in check, and I seriously mean nothing. I can speak fully from experience here. When you prioritize your mental health, that's when everything else can really start to line up in your life, but it all starts there. I have found talk therapy to be so helpful on my mental health journey, but getting started can present a whole lot of challenges, which is why we want to talk to you about Talkspace, the online therapy platform bringing you mental health help on your terms.
Traditionally, mental health help is hard to come by, like unnecessarily hard, because you have to figure out what your insurance will cover. You have to find a therapist in network that takes new patients. Oftentimes they're full. You have to find someone in your area that fits into your schedule. You want to find someone that fits with you and your personality. And let's not forget, you're paying a whole lot even after all of that. It's not an easy process unless you are using Talkspace, because when you sign up for Talkspace, you get matched with one of their thousands of licensed therapists that specialize in dozens of areas, and it usually happens in 48 hours or less.
Once you're matched with your therapist, you can send messages to them via Talkspace's secure platform 24/7 as things come up for you, not just the 1 hour a week like traditional therapy. And 1 month of Talkspace is going to cost you less than just a few sessions of in-person therapy. Talkspace is making mental health help accessible for everyone the way it should be.
As a listener of this podcast, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/chatty. So to match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/chatty to get $100 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's Talkspace.com/chatty. Okay, so yeah, you're talking about how Genevieve had her hands in everything.
Genevieve has been like the main character of Paradise so far, I feel this is our main character. Now, will it continue throughout the upcoming episodes? I am not sure.
We will see.
But you know what?
Who did she end up with at the end? Oh, she's on the double date.
She's on the double date. And then she's in between Aaron and Justin. And so we're going to see in next week's episodes how that transpires.
Let's get into that.
Let's get into it.
Well, really, where we start off with the first episode and how this all does eventually, all roads lead back to Genevieve, is that Victoria...
The 7 degrees of Genevieve.
Yes, it's more like 2 throughout both of these episodes. So Victoria F shows up on the beach. She's a hot commodity. She gets the date card. She talks to Logan. She talks to Johnny. She talks to Justin. I thought that she was going to... Who did you think she was going to go
Johnny.
for? I thought she was going to go for Johnny, too.
Because... the flirtations between those two are so spicy.
Yeah.
The fireworks are exploding.
Well, look, I'm skipping to the end, but obviously then at the end when she made a 180 and Johnny was like, yes. Sorry, what's her name?
Well, because the moment that Victoria F walked onto that beach, Johnny literally, his necklace dropped out of his mouth.
Yes.
And the first thing he said to her, he's like, oh my God, you're beautiful. You're gorgeous.
You're perfect.
And then he by accident calls her Caroline, and the way that she handled it was just like, maybe I'll change my name. And they were just, it was like, okay, you guys.
Yeah,
and he was, just dying for that date.
What was that girl's name who he was with prior?
Hunter,
yeah. The Hunter, the minute that Victoria and he talked before the rose ceremony, like, for 30 seconds after, he's like, and my rose is no longer going to you, Hunter. Sorry. Hunter
also alluded to something on Twitter, too. Made some comment like, oh, what you all didn't see. I'm like, what is going on? What is happening?
There must have been some drama that went down that they didn't have time to. I actually, it's funny that she said that. I did not see that tweet, but I had this thought. I think Hunter said something when she was leaving. Something when she left. I thought to myself, I think that Johnny would have looked really bad if they had left some stuff in that they ended up taking out.
Well, I would tend to agree with you because the situation, the quick switch.
I mean, Victoria said, oh, Johnny's got his little girlfriend over there, which obviously was an exaggeration, but it seemed like they had an deeply established thing.
Right. I mean, like as established as any of the other couples would be. And I think if one of the other couples would have done what Johnny did, where he did, a full 180 without at least what we saw talking to Hunter, it would have been a big drama.
Yes.
Which makes me think that, like, obviously they're going to have Johnny and Victoria be a sweetheart couple.
Yes. Or even if they're not like a sweetheart couple, or Johnny is just going to be, they want him to be the guy that when he leaves, you go like, oh, Johnny, like, oh my God, like a king of the beach kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely think that he was protected in that scenario.
I think so as well. Because again, I know it's very different with Romeo, but, similar things of not communicating and then being like, I'm going to go after you. And then, we see how that transpired.
Yes.
So yeah, it definitely seems like things were probably left out.
But anyway, she decided to go for Justin, which also I wonder if that was a little bit egged on by producers. They knew Genevieve was going to have a meltdown, whatever.
Well, and also too, because think about this. A day previous, Shanae came in with her eyes on Justin, and she didn't pursue that.
Right.
So they were probably hoping that would be explosive, and it wasn't, because Justin went for Genevieve.
Which, side note, wasn't even explosive when Genevieve and Shanae went on their double date, it was actually really cute how they kind of became friends.
I don't know if it'll stay that way.
I don't know if it will either, but I still thought that it was cute.
Yes.
Why do you think it won't?
I just could see all of a sudden we see drama with Aaron and potentially now the triangle that is Genevieve and Justin and Aaron. And so I wonder if in Aaron's rage, he will try to connect with Shanae to upset Genevieve.
Oh.
You'd hope he wouldn't do that to his bro, James, but maybe if James finds someone else.
What do you think about... Okay, fine. Okay, wait.
I know there's so many. Such a tangled web we weave.
Okay, but she ends up going on a date. Like I said, I think that might have been egged on for her to give Justin the date.
Because they don't kiss, by the way.
Yeah, and also...
They don't kiss.
They didn't have a night portion of the date, correct?
At least not what we saw.
I don't think they did, though.
It looked like they were
back earlier.
Yeah, it looked like they came back in the evening, but not like too late in the evening. But we did not see them kiss. So there was chemistry, but it didn't feel like, oh, this is...
I didn't even think there was chemistry. When they were like sitting by the pool, she was like, and whatever he was saying to her, or not by the pool, by the water, whatever water thing they were by.
The waterfall.
Yeah, was it a waterfall? Water feature. When he was talking to her, like I just watched her eyes just like glaze over, and she's like, yeah. And there was just, I even felt like their conversation on the beach was not, I know they had like a little funny banter about like Nashville and whatever, but I did not catch a vibe between them at all. I didn't see much chemistry.
Especially, let's be real, when you're comparing it to her conversation with John.
For sure.
Where I was sweating watching it, being like, Victoria Fuller, sign me up for your classes. Master class in the most perfect flirting I've ever seen in my life. She should teach a class on this. It's a 10. It's a 10. The way she rolls with stuff, I'm just like, you know what? She did it. We'll see.
But yeah, I didn't actually feel like she was into Justin. I also didn't feel like Justin was that into her. I didn't think there was much going on there.
Yeah, probably... obviously she's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, she's beautiful and we're going on a date. But I mean, clearly we saw, he did end up picking Genevieve after seeing Victoria making out with Johnny.
Right.
But I was getting the feeling that even with Genevieve and Justin's confrontation that he was going to pick Genevieve.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I didn't think that before their conversation. I was a little iffy, but then after their conversation... But that, oh my God, Genevieve, she really is a hot mess though, because one, of course, I get it though, losing her mind of him going on the date. She really liked him. But then after everything with Justin was a little cray.
It got wild. Well, because while Victoria and Justin are on their date, that's of course when the Sally suitcase delivery happens. Right. So now she's spiraling going, oh my God, I was worried. Sally was the one I was worried about. And now all of a sudden she's going to show up and now I'm going to have to be competing with Victoria and Sally in regards to Justin. Yeah. So she's asking everybody on the beach. Yeah. She's asking Andrew, like, what are your thoughts? He's your friend. And Andrew's like, he's an honest guy. So you'll know. Yeah. He's trying to just like dance around the situation. Mm-hmm. So then... But of course it's her birthday because that's just what
at midnight
paradise does.
He's like, what time is it? Yeah,
I think they did it to Kaylin. I think they did it to Tammy. It's always someone's birthday on the most horrible day of their life on the beach.
Yeah. No, I can think of, there's one girl from my season that they did it to. Yeah, they do it to everybody.
It's like, do they figure this out beforehand?
It's so funny. Wells is like, is it like her real birthday? Like, no. She's like, it's my birthday.
Is it like a Lace birthday?
Right.
Or
like, no, it is definitely my birthday.
She's like, I'm just going to pretend it's my birthday because this is a rough situation. So I'm going to take a book a note out of Lace's book and we're going to roll with the whole birthday thing.
No, it's her actual birthday. But yeah, that was quite a conversation, which I'm actually getting a little confused now with when they had the cake conversation. But
that was not until episode
right until the second episode. Yeah, but
so he comes back with Victoria, and then they sit down, and he doesn't have the cake yet, but he wishes her happy birthday.
See, I thought that he was gonna like break up with her.
That's what I thought too.
So when because he looked like so. Like, oh God, now I have to have this talk on her birthday. So I was like, he's going to pursue Victoria.
Yeah. And I was, for sure. I definitely thought that too. But I think, of course, he felt bad about having to have the talk that, like, I'm also interested in Victoria on your birthday.
Right.
It didn't go great.
No.
It did not go great.
And I also felt like Genevieve was kind of grasping at straws because she was just sort of like, she was trying to like take things he said and sort of been like, but you said this, but really, truly, he had never said anything concrete to her. It was all, I felt like Justin handled everything really fairly in their conversation.
I did as well. Again, it's just, we have to just take time into consideration. It's been about 8 hours. Right. And, do I, of course, if I'm trying to be like super specific, would I be like, oh, he could have said this?
Sure.
In a way that maybe would have cleared up this. But in general...
And he went like straight to her. He wasn't avoiding her.
Well, that was the thing, right? Okay, so after Victoria asked him out, before they went on their date, he did pull Genevieve aside.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is kind of my thought in paradise. I'm interested in you, but I'm also interested in getting to know other people. I'd want you to do the same.
Yeah.
Which is my most favorite line ever. Everyone was always like, I want you to do the same.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden when it goes in reverse, it's like, hold on a second. But he right away did
Clear things up. Yeah.
Make sure that she knew before he went on the date.
Yeah.
And then she was saying that after the date that he did not come to her right away, that it was about an hour until he sat down with her.
But also like producers orchestrate like they wanted him to talk to Andrew. They wanted like it was, you know, he had every intention of like talking to her like right after, right?
I never got the vibe that he was going to avoid the conversation. I mean, he had one before.
Right.
Definitely then seems like he was planning on having one after.
Right.
And then he did say that he was then going to be honest with her. And he said that this is how I'm feeling. And then she's like, well, I'm fully checked out now.
Yeah.
Because if it's not me 100, then I'm out.
Which, again, like you said, it's like this has been 8 hours. So it seems a little unfair.
And then, you know, he said... He's like, so you're seriously going to do that? Like, you want me to be honest and then you're just going to check out? And she's like, well, you know, you want me to be honest. Here's my thing. Both people can have the right to their opinion of like, if you're not all about me, I'm out.
Sure.
And that's it.
But be out.
Where it got a little lost on me was then when Aaron arrived after everything. That's when the whole thing got a little messy. Because here's my thing. I'm like, it's like if I'm on the beach and I go in saying I want someone who is like a Brandon with Serene, who is there 100% day one, and I'm not willing to have anything other than that, then that's then do that. And then you walk away and you try to pursue a relationship with someone else, or you leave the show or whatever. Right. But this then conversation where I didn't think Justin did anything wrong.
Well, and the birthday cake thing was before Aaron and James got there, right? So then even at the birthday cake thing, you know, she's saying like, which is, you know, on the next episode, but she's saying that like, I just need you to show some sort of affection for me. Like, I just felt like she was a little unhinged in that conversation.
When she said, you never do anything for me.
And he's literally
he literally turned around and looked at the cake and she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm looking at the cake.
Yeah, he's like, bro, what? Like, I do feel like he's been really intentional. Granted, has he committed 100%? No, but I feel like he's been really intentional with having conversations with her. And honestly, like, even when she's being a little manipulative and kind of like just saying things that really aren't fair, like I felt like in their first conversation when she was saying you have to be all 100 and whatever, I felt like she was being a little unfair in a lot of these circumstances, and I feel like he has really taken it in stride and been really even keeled and really calm, which as we see in the previews, other guys don't seem to be able to handle. So she may regret handling these situations the way that she has.
Well, and that's the thing. She was saying later that she appreciated how communicative
Aaron, she got the rose
how Aaron was and how he made her feel right away. We see a little bit of that explosion later with Aaron. But I think with Justin, it just seems also like Justin's energy, and you've said it before, it's the beautiful babe energy, right?
Yeah.
It's the man does not seem like he is going to be standing on top of a mountain shouting your name and declaring his love for you, but he has been honest, which is what was asked from him by you at the very beginning, and so he is being honest about what's going on.
And to the beautiful babe thing, I don't think like the beautiful babe thing was also always sort of like a kind of a checked out like dick move sort of thing, but I feel like he's really proven that he's not that guy. Like he's actually I feel like he's been really intentional with Genevieve, and then of course after he gives her the rose, then she's like, I feel so good about us. And the other problem here that's obviously going on is Genevieve is super insecure. I love Genevieve. I'm so glad she's on the beach. I want to make that disclaimer. She's super insecure. The minute anybody is like looking in his direction, and I do get Paradise is hard because Justin is a hot commodity and all that. But it's like she can't enjoy any moment with Justin unless she feels like there is 0% of any threat towards him and her. And then suddenly she's acting like everything's normal and fine and dandy. I'm like, girl, you did not chill out and start treating him nicely until he gave you like the rose.
Right. It was, and then when he was gone, like you said, there wasn't the ability to just kind of enjoy the experience there, which again, this is me talking on my ass, because Lord knows if I'm into somebody and they're gone, I'd be absolutely
But even the experience
spiraling.
with him, like even when he was bringing her the cake and trying to talk to her and do all these things, like she's just can't handle it. And then she turns around and the minute some other guy comes, she does, like he said, I thought it was, and look, we're allowed to change our minds, but I thought it was extremely hypocritical. And she didn't, that we saw, have any conversation with Justin about it.
So that was my issue. And I feel the same way. Love Genevieve on our sand, okay? Like love
so glad
it.
she's there.
She's a 10 in Paradise. Like she is, this is her, Paradise is for Genevieve.
She is
we
the
love.
moment.
But that was where I was lost, where in her and Justin's conversations, I was a little bit like, I feel like he's being honest, and maybe it's not what you want to hear, but like he is being honest, and he's not saying I don't want to be in a relationship. It's a little bit more like, it's been 8 hours and I'm still ready to explore other potential options, but I'm going to be direct with you about it.
And he's consistently taking the time to pull her aside and do that.
Right.
Like,
so then after the rose is given, and then when Aaron walks onto the beach, again, maybe we didn't see it. Maybe they did have a one-on-one conversation about it. Granted, we did see Genevieve and Justin by the water talking about Aaron when he came in. She was telling Justin, though, there's no way he's going to ask me. So then when Justin and Genevieve, or excuse me, when Aaron and Genevieve have them their moment.
Which is also not the same as I'm not going to go on a date with him.
Correct. But then they have their, Aaron and Genevieve have their moment, and then everyone's piled on the daybed. So it doesn't look like they had a separate side conversation. Right. Maybe they did, and we didn't see it. But as soon as Aaron says, will you go on this date? And she right away says yes. And then she leans into Justin and she goes, I'm probably going to miss you a little bit, and then takes off. And I'm like, let's be real.
Can you imagine if he did that to her? Can you
not have gone well? And
she would have burned down the beach.
Now, they did have a conversation earlier in the day where Genevieve said, the way that I was yesterday wasn't cool. I'm not going to be that way again. And she's like, I'm a new person. But it's also a little bit like, well, now the rose is in your hands.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. She's like, now she's all secure, and now she's going to do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, so
I felt like he got a little played. I really felt like he got a little played.
I think so, too.
I don't even know if she knew that she was playing him in that situation. I really don't. But I felt like she couldn't give him the common decency that he was always affording to her when she was demanding the sky from him.
Well, and that's the thing too, right? I think it's one of those moments where, and this is just like the humanity in Paradise, when someone asks you on a date, you're excited. You've known these people for a few hours. So of course you're excited. So just the same way that I'm sure when Victoria asked Justin on the date, you're excited. You're like, oh my God, this person wants to get to know me better. And I feel like it was a moment where it was like, yeah, Genevieve got excited and is getting to know, gets picked by Aaron to go on this date, and didn't have a moment of, okay, remember how you felt less than 24 hours ago when you were in this situation, and then what you were feeling like you deserved from someone. And now we have to give that to the other individual as well. So that was a little rough.
Yeah, I felt like she just didn't give a fuck after that. I just felt really, I felt bad for Justin. And you could tell, I don't think that she had a conversation with him because he seemed to totally bamboozled, to borrow, who kept saying that over and over again?
Jill.
To borrow Jill's phrase. He seemed pretty bamboozled by the whole thing of like, are you kidding me? Also, we have to remember that these conversations with Genevieve are edited down over the past 48 hours. I felt awful for him. I really even though I think Justin's kind of, to me, I think he's a very handsome guy. And that's about it for me with him. But he does seem like he seems like a really nice guy, actually. Like, really, like, I feel like through these situations, he's proven himself to be a really even-keeled, like, pretty considerate guy.
He does seem like a lovely guy. Yes, yes,
and so
absolutely.
I did appreciate seeing that side of him. I felt
and
like
that's what we saw in Katie's season as well.
Yeah.
A kind person.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I like Justin.
But then Genevieve, when she is on the date with Aaron and Shanae and James...
Yes. I was confused, by the way. Was Aaron also into Shanae? Like, it seemed like I
wasn't sure what this foursome was, what was going to go down with this foursome. I was like, are we going to have like a date swap where they then hang out, like James hangs out with Genevieve and then Aaron hangs out with Shanae?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we didn't see James talk about Shanae at all. I saw Aaron talk about Shanae, and I saw Aaron talk about Genevieve.
Becca, we didn't see anything of James.
Right, well,
we didn't see James... In typical Bachelor in Paradise fashion, they just like to cut James out of everything.
He'll be there the next 5 weeks.
He'll leave without, he probably won't get engaged, but he'll leave the final, like he'll be one of the final people because that's just what happens with James. Yes. But we didn't even see him talk to any of the women before the date. We saw nothing of James.
No one,
nothing.
Yeah.
And then we saw the moment of Shanae and James talking when they were on the date.
Right.
But it was like, no, it was definitely the focus feature was Aaron.
By the way, good old JP, he is so jealous of them and wants to be the third amigo so bad.
He's like, hey, my bestie bros, big facts, big facts.
Yeah.
He throws it into one of the promotions for like trying to get people to come on the show. Hey, big facts. Are you sitting on the couch alone with your cat right now? What? Sign up for The Bachelor.
That was a choice.
It was a choice.
Yeah.
JP is like, these are my brothers.
Yes.
These are my brothers.
Yes, they get me. I get them. Yeah, he was, he
wants to go to the bar with them so bad. Like, hey, I remember the good old days when I was out there in San Diego doing what you two do with those dance moves that you all have. I mean, the jersey of it all with the dance moves. Unbelievable. He
was obsessed with them. But anyway, yeah, so they are on their double date.
But she kisses Aaron on their double date.
Oh, Justin is long gone.
She's making out with Aaron.
Yeah.
So I am...
By the way, that had to be part of the conversation with Justin and Genevieve before, him being like, I didn't even kiss her. Like, we didn't even touch each other. Like...
Right. So she's kissing Aaron, and then we're going to see next week what that looks like. Because... How do you think Justin's going to respond? Do you think Justin's going to... Because he said, this feels hypocritical to me.
Yeah.
Do you think that he's going to be like, let's have a conversation and try to keep working it out? Or do you think he's going to be like, no, I'm done?
Well, I think he's going to have a conversation with her. I think that she probably comes off the date, probably doesn't really say... Probably is honestly like ignoring him. And he's like, can we talk about what's going on? Mm-hmm. Is this...
Are you interested?
Because last we talked, you said we were in a great place and you couldn't wait to see what happens next. You also said
there's no way he's going to ask you out. So, like, did you guys hang out and it was like friend vibes, or are you guys into each other?
Yeah, I think he is going to pull her to be like, can we talk about like where we stand?
Okay.
And I guarantee she's going to be like, well, I didn't feel like I was getting any kind of like affection or any effort from you. So like, I'm going to take it where I can get it kind of thing. And he's going to be like,
oh no.
And then he's going to be in Justin face fashion is going to be like, are you for real? Like, and I think that's going to go down. I think they're going to have a little bit of an argument there. And then I think he's going to be like, all right. And then some beautiful babe is going to come down on the beach.
Next beautiful
and
babe.
then he'll be on to
I think you're right, because she did mention in her conversation with Aaron how, or maybe it was an ITM, but I thought it was her conversation with Aaron where she appreciates how forward Aaron's being and that she hasn't been getting that. She's realizing now that she hasn't been getting that. Now, I will say,
she's going to turn that around and be like, I deserve someone who cares about me.
When Aaron did first pull, I was laughing so hard, I'm sorry. When Aaron first pulled Genevieve to talk before he asked her on a date, he's like, so, like, anyone else here that, like, what's your situation here? Like, anyone else here, like, catch your eye? And she goes, here? Wait, you mean anyone else here? What are you saying? Anybody else here?
On the beach?
On the beach? It's like, because she just didn't want to say it. She's like, well, just Justin. But like, yeah, Justin.
He's more like a brother to me. I can't. I cannot.
This is an incredible paradise love triangle. That's what this is. This is an incredible sequence that's going on.
Oh my God.
From, you know, from Justin to Genevieve to Victoria to Justin and Genevieve, now to Justin and Genevieve, now to Aaron, Justin and Genevieve. Like, who knows what's going to go down? Now I'm wondering too. I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
Aaron's going to explode, but of course, because that's what Aaron does. About Justin and Genevieve.
Oh, you think it's going to be about Justin and Genevieve?
Yes, I think so. He's going to explode because maybe she'll kiss Justin again, or she'll be like, I'm on the fence.
Okay.
He's going to explode.
Okay.
She will end up choosing Aaron.
Yeah.
And then the next episode, a woman will come down that Aaron's more interested in. And then it'll be the whole cycle all over again.
That sounds good. Sign me up. I'm ready.
I think it's going to be the whole cycle all over again. All over again.
I want to talk next about Logan and Haley and Shanae.
Yes, let's talk about that. Quick pause before we dive in. Okay, Broad. So the thing about cooking is I don't really want to cook an elaborate meal, especially multiple times a day. And I especially don't want to eat the same thing day in and day out, which when you're not an incredible chef, you kind of have to, because most of us only have a handful of recipes we're super confident in. But on the other hand, I do want to eat something that's fresh, nutritious, and easy. Kind of sounds like I'm asking for the best of all the worlds, right? Well, I am, but thanks to Factor, you can have that.
Factor's fresh, never frozen meals make it so simple to fuel up with food that tastes gourmet and is ready to eat in just 2 minutes, and it rivals your favorite restaurants. And I did say 2 minutes, as in less than the amount of time it would take to pick out something from a delivery app on your phone. Factor also has a rotating menu each week. You're never going to get sick of eating the same old recipes night after night. And each week, you can choose from over 30 different meals and 36 add-ons like juices and snacks to help keep you fueled on the go or in between meals. And Factor is so good.
The meals are unbelievable, okay? Unbelievable. And now here's the thing. We are into fall now, baby, okay? Which means fall flavors, my personal favorite. And Factor has so many delicious fall meals to choose from on the menu this month. Their 3-bean vegan chili is literally the perfect Sunday meal when the temperatures start to drop. That's definitely my top pick for my next order. But I'm also dying to try the apple mustard pork chops, the Tuscan tomato chicken. I mean, you cannot go wrong with anything on Factor's menu because they're all so good.
Head to go.factor75.com/chatty60. Use code chatty60. You'll get 60% off your first box. Code chatty60 at go.factor75.com/chatty60. You'll get 60% off your first box.
Okay, air is on, and I'm ready to discuss
Let's do it.
Logan, Haley, and Shanae.
Okay, so, you know, Haley and Logan obviously had some little thing going on. I don't know about the seriousness of it.
Yeah, I'm interested in what that actually, because obviously we didn't see it. I'm very interested in what that actually looked like because she seemed pretty set on it.
Right.
And he did not.
Okay.
Is putting it as simply as possible.
This is what I want to talk about. But I do remember seeing clips of them together and stuff. And then he and Shanae started having their thing. I'm skipping ahead. Shanae and Logan go on their date together. I actually loathed the way that he handled when he got back and that conversation with Haley. That was fucked up.
Becca. Logan.
Gray and I were so mad.
Logan, I'm looking into the camera, into your soul right now. You know I've been such a fan the entire time. You've entertained, you've amused. I've had so many questions. That got me so
Bro, that
heated.
was not... That to me was like... I'm sorry, maybe this is a little judgmental, but that's like all I needed to know about him. I was like, all right. That to me was so... cold and just being a total fucking asshole.
It was just like, listen, I thought last week with the loose situation, it was fine, right? Obviously, he wasn't interested in Lace, but I felt like he was still engaged. He was engaging, and he was a little bit like...
I mean, look, when you're not into someone, what are you going to do,
you can't
right?
force
it's
it,
like,
right? It's also like, you know, he's caught up. He got caught up with Lace and got pulled over and was like, what's happening? I'm being forced to sing the birthday song. Like, this is, and I thought he handled it well.
Sure.
This situation was like, listen, if you're not into Haley, that's totally fine. But respect someone enough to look them in their eyes when they're clearly trying to have a conversation with you and figure out where you all kind of stand.
In fact, I even made a note on the next episode when Johnny said, he was talking to someone saying, Logan's so sweet. And I was like, not that sweet. Because he treated her in that moment like she was just disposable. And you can tell from Haley, it's not like she's been bugging him incessantly and won't stop talking to him. Not saying it's right in that scenario, but maybe it's a little more understandable. I might do that to a guy who won't shut up to me.
If some dude was following me around on the sand all day and interrupting every conversation I was having, I'd be a little bit like,
there's a point where you're like, how can I get and maybe you've even had a conversation, be like, I'm not interested. At some point, it's like, no. I'm just going to like tune you out.
You could tell. She even said, she's like, I've been leaving you alone. I haven't seen you.
She was psyching herself up so hard for that conversation. Man. And he treated her so disrespectfully, like complete garbage in that scenario. Wouldn't look at her, was looking in the opposite direction, just was... And it seemed like we had seen some scenes where they had a little thing, like I said, nothing super established. But the least he could do for her was to say like, hey, like, I know we had something going on. You could even keep it short and simple. I really feel like I just want to pursue things with Shanae.
I just really was disappointed because, I just expected better from Logan because I feel like what we've seen of Logan on the show thus far is even when people were like making Logan out to be the villain, I felt like Logan was always very honest, even if it was not a fun honesty where it wasn't like, hey, this is great news. So I was assuming from what we've seen of Logan that he would have a conversation with Haley that was super like honest and like, hey, like I really appreciate our time together, but I'm definitely interested in getting to know Shanae, or at least even if he's not going to have that full conversation with her, that he would then at least give her the time of day.
This is the thing. A human. We have only seen Logan interact with women who
he's interested in.
Yes, or who he has something to gain from. Or like Rachel, he had to handle that situation like he would look, he knew. I'm not saying he was on it for clout. I don't believe that. Or like, I don't think that switch was like for clout or whatever like that. I don't buy that whole thing that people are saying, but he was very well aware that if he handled things poorly with Rachel, he was going to look like even more of an asshole. So he had something to gain from treating her respectfully. Mm-hmm. And he was into Gabby. We haven't seen him interact with any other woman. And then the minute this woman didn't have anything to offer him in that moment, he treated her like garbage. Mm-hmm. And that really showed his true colors. And I will not be forgetting that anytime soon unless I see him apologizing to her, because that was completely inappropriate. And if he apologizes to her on After Paradise, which I don't think that they're going to even give that a moment because it's going to be, such
small
a water under the bridge. Yeah. But even so, it would probably be after people are giving him shit, which I didn't really see people talking about it. I
didn't see anything.
So I am going to talk about it and say, Logan, you look like a fucking dickhole in that moment, and I do not like you anymore at all. That was mean. That was mean.
That was really, it was unkind.
It was mean.
It was unkind, absolutely.
She did nothing to him, and she was literally just trying to talk to him. She wasn't even trying to, rub up on him or anything, and he wouldn't, like you said, wouldn't even meet her eye. It was mean.
No, that whole thing was devastating. And then when she got sent home and she was in the car and was like, I got sent home night 1 of Clayton's season and now sent home.
I've never gotten a rose.
Oh, Haley.
You're
a beautiful, lovely, kind person.
Yeah.
And we hope the best for you.
Yes.
She seemed just like,
a sweet girl.
Yeah.
Mark my words, I will be coming for Logan the rest of this season.
Well, there was some karma because then when Shanae, he's all Twitter-pated because, villains got a vill together and he was like, I see you, I know you, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Which also I'm kind of confused because I remember seeing him post very recently on social media that he's never seen a single episode of the show before he went on the show. So I'm like, does he even know about Shanae, or does he just know
He might have watched it after, though, knowing he was going on Paradise.
Maybe, or if he didn't, maybe just from people talking about how she was the villain.
Lying.
Or he's lying. Either way. But he was, they were having their villains got a vill together moment, and he was like, this is my person, and was like over the moon about Shanae. And, you know, she said Shanae in their conversation, when they had their one-on-one date, they were like, we are seeing each other. It is real. I was like, this is an intense connection.
Right.
And then the next day she told him or she was telling Johnny and Victoria, I'm very much like one person, like I'm all about a relationship and vibing on Logan, and he likes you and blah, blah, blah. And then James showed up, and she said to James that her and Logan's connection is good, but her and James is great. So I think Logan's going to be in store for a little bit of a wake-up call here.
He does not have the power this week, sweetie.
He does not. So we'll see how that goes down with them, because but we know from foreshadowing in the Men Tell All that Logan got around on the beach. So I don't think Logan's going anywhere if Shanae chooses James. I think that Logan will, and I will, as I said, as I've been saying for numerous weeks, I believe that this is going to be a rough road for Logan.
Oh yeah.
I believe he's in store for a lot of drama.
Yes.
Lots of drama.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my, yes.
And speaking of drama, should we talk about Romeo?
Yeah, I was just looking at my notes and about to get there. Romeo.
Romeo. Oh, man. Oh, goodness gracious.
What a hot mess. Can you believe? So where we left off before we watched, I keep saying the second episode, I'm talking about the second episode this week, but where we left off on an actual episode 1, like the very first episode of Paradise, that's where we left off. Where
Victoria was coming down the beach and Romeo was in a sticky situation before, but him and Jill had...
Right.
Him and Jill had said that he had told Jill that he was going to pursue her.
So he had established things with Jill. Had they said that they were like boyfriend, girlfriend? No, but he had said like, I am not pursuing Kira. I am into you. Or essentially the thing was, are you into me? I'm into you.
They had said, we're going to give this a shot. And the thing about Jill is, God, Jill entertains me to no
Me too. She is the Ashley I equivalent for me.
Seeing Ashley I and her together on the sand, it was a beautiful thing. She entertains me so much. I
really like her too. She's funny.
But what we know about Jill is Jill's going to make it very clear when her and Romeo are having their conversations where she stands.
Right.
And she made sure in that conversation with Romeo that it was like, what are we doing right now?
Yeah, for sure.
What are we doing?
Right.
And they decided
was like,
what they were going to do.
So then it comes as a bit of a surprise.
Well, when they're sitting having a conversation about how Jill was saying with Romeo sitting next to her, oh God, I'm glad that we're not going to be at least part of that drama tonight. We're just going to be hanging back.
That same night.
He literally was sitting next to her though, and he goes, well... And he kind of paused and looked off into the distance while they were having a conversation with, I forget who the third party was.
What in God's name is this man's problem?
And she's like, it's going to be mellow for us and we're just going to go. And then she's like, let's just go talk. And he's like, well, can we make a quick stop by the bar? And she's like, you can go. I'm not going to go because Kira's there and I don't really want to get involved there. And so he doesn't go to get a drink. He goes to get a drink and go talk to Brittany. Who, by the way...
What is wrong?
By the way, show us more Brittany.
Oh, I know. She's so beautiful.
Obsessed. Also, what a person.
Yeah.
What a person.
Yeah. What is this man thinking, though? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, what would make you think any of this is a good idea? Like, think, my guy, for 1 minute.
I was just baffled at the nature in which, with Jill there,
and like Brittany said,
Jill
we're
in
friends.
The wings, he not only quickly sits down and tells Brittany that he wants to pursue something with her. Brittany's face, and she goes, we're friends. Her face is shocked. He leans in for a kiss.
Oh no, that was he.
Which she dodges quite quickly.
Who ended up giving her the rose?
Casey.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay.
They seem to be having a little bit of a thing there at the end of the episode.
Great.
Casey,
I love Casey.
the mailman of paradise.
I love him.
He delivers all the information to everyone.
Yes, he is funny. I like him. My mind was blown by that whole thing. Yeah, and clearly she was shocked by him trying to kiss her. She's like, what the fuck?
Well, first of all, the facial expression tells you all you need to know about the fact that she is aghast at what you're doing right now. Truly aghast. Can't process what's happening. That he is going to make this declaration after everything that went down with him and Jill. And then she dodges his kiss and is like, what is going on? And I believe the kiss attempt was after she was like, you need to go figure this out with Jill because I really respect her. And she basically said no to him pretty directly. And then he went in for the kiss. In front of everybody, dude. On the sand, in front of everyone.
Like, I really don't know what's going through his head.
I was just like, Romeo, what is happening? You are not in a private little corner in a dark club, my guy. This is not, some like Bachelor Nation hang where you're at a club and you're in the corner and nobody can see you and everyone's, I mean, like you are dead center on the sand.
Which also, it like we talked about, it sounds like he and Jill had a thing and then her trust was kind of broken because he like made out with Kira. So like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? This is less than a day later.
I feel like he's the kind of guy that like tells you that he and his girlfriend are poly, and then you ask her, and she's by the way like at the table like next to you, like
she's like
she's
no.
standing there, and he says like we're poly, like within earshot, and then like 2 seconds later you talk to her, and she's like, what are you talking about?
No, we're monogamous. What are you talking about?
And then he's just like, well,
I mean,
he's almost harmless because of what a bumbling fool he is in these scenarios.
Like, it's so obvious because, again, he's doing it in front of everyone, like where everyone can see. And then, of course, Brittany goes straight to Jill because they're friends. And even if they weren't, Brittany, I believe, would have been like, hey, I just want to let you know, just FYI, as your friend, as a person who's on the beach with you, he just like told me he wanted to pursue me. Did she tell Jill that he even tried to kiss her? I don't even know if she told her that. I
don't know. But then, of course, Jill is like pissed. Romeo's chasing her. And then when they actually have a conversation, he tells her this line really killed me. I did not choose to hurt you. Well, that's semantics if I've ever heard it. Like, what? You didn't say, like, I'm going to hurt Jill right now. And she basically said as much. She's like, well, you made choices that hurt me.
Correct.
I did not choose to hurt you. That is a line and a half.
And you've continued to make the choices that hurt me.
So then she's just like, no, fuck you, basically.
Which I was like, I loved that she was just like, no, I'm not going to have another conversation. It's too much. You know what I mean? Like the fact that night she just like went straight to her room and is like, I no, absolutely not. We're not going to sit here and have a conversation about this again.
And then, which also props to her and also props to, bless me, props to Haley, who, by the way, had no prospects at that point, so she did need a rose. I could not believe he says to Haley, which seemingly out of nowhere, I have a good feeling about you. And she's like, excuse me? No.
Didn't she say no?
Yeah, I think she was like,
I thought I heard her say no. I was like, no.
Yeah,
she was like comforting him, but she was like, no, I'm here to I'm comforting you as a friend. This is not going to become romantic.
It's editing, but I would believe 100% that he literally was walking from Brittany to Jill to Haley and then to Kira.
Well, and the thing is, even if it wasn't editing and there was time in between, it's still the same night.
Right.
It's in one night.
Even if it's an hour apart. I mean, what?
And then he goes to Kira too and is like, I was too brash. Maybe we could mend things. And Kira's like, I don't trust you anymore.
Which also, though, I'm like, ladies, get your rose.
I know.
Play his ass. Get your rose. Kira, for the love of God, get your rose.
That's what I was saying when initially Genevieve told Justin as soon as he got back from the date with Victoria that she's like, I'm done now. I was like, girl, just hold
Get
on.
your rose.
Get the rose. Just be like, yeah, I'm done. Whatever. Just wait until you
Play
got
your
the
game,
rose,
ladies.
babies. Come on, my loves. Wait until you get those roses for everybody. You wait until you get those roses.
she did, and she got her rose.
She did.
On to the next. But no, and then, okay, look. I love when men show emotion, fully in support of the tears. This man was really trying to put on the waterworks.
So when he first walked out of Jill's the women's room, and he started to cry, I was like, what in the name of fake tears? But then as the night progressed,
well, by the end of the night,
I felt like they were real, because I think it was like, oh my gosh, I think the realization was hitting of like, you are on national TV and you just did all of those things.
I still felt like he was being manipulative, though, like breaking down in front of Kira, where it's like, then she's just kind of like, dude,
what I was
like, you already like played all of us, and then now what, do you want me to comfort you? Like,
which she so graciously did. So lovely.
Right.
But, I think the thing that for me then was a bummer is that ultimately he offered his rose to Jill.
Yeah.
And if I were Romeo, I think it's a good call to give Jill your rose because you put her in this situation and she deserves that rose to explore.
Right.
What I wasn't a fan of was then when he was like, maybe you and I could continue or you could explore. It's like, no, you need to give that rose just as exploration because she's said to you very clearly that it's over. And then we see in the next day him sitting with her being like, maybe you and I could give it a chance. And she's like, that door is so firmly shut and sealed. No, it's like, I wish he would have just given the rose and not said, maybe we can explore something, just given the rose and been like, because he did apologize. If he just would have been like, I'm so sorry. What I did was so not okay. And I played with your emotions and I want to give you this rose because this is yours. And I wish you all the best in paradise.
Unreal.
Like that would have been, not the added, maybe we can explore something. It's like, do you really think that anything is going to happen now? Oh my God.
Unreal. I'm going to take a quick sidebar because there's still more drama to get to, so I'll keep this one brief. But obviously, Michael and Sierra have their thing going on. They had a really sweet conversation.
Yes.
They really bonded through that. However, I do think that ultimately she is going to be too young and he's going to feel that she's not ready for motherhood.
I wonder with Michael, there's just no way Michael's going to get engaged on this show, right? I mean, like, without having his son ever meet
definitely.
the person.
No, I
like,
definitely think not.
I don't foresee him. I foresee him walking away in a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
But not getting engaged.
Sure.
I am honestly...
They might bring his son, though, for a date once he is, like, really in with someone.
That's true. That's very true. I will say, you had mentioned last week that you feel like there's going to be heartbreak somewhere and it's going to come to an end. And I will say I'm already devastated and worried about it because I love Sierra so much. And I feel like in all of these conversations, she has just so, I don't know, she's just so like present and like lovely and able to process. I'm sorry, with a lot of really tough conversations early on, like you're having really intense, nuanced conversations about someone who has dealt with so much pain and grief. And she's just such a incredible human and like presence with him in those conversations. And
well, this is where I feel like the show actually does really help, because for these women getting to see his whole story unfold, like on Katie's season, I feel like is really helpful to both people in the relationship, because then he doesn't have to explain everything, and then she already has like a whole insight onto like his life and like his experience, like
so intense. But I think they're so lovely together, but I feel like
they're gonna end.
Oh no.
I hope though Sierra finds someone, because I think he will move on. I think he will end things with her. I think he's gonna leave with someone else.
You think someone who's a little older?
I think that he's going to find someone who has a little bit more of an, maybe a little more, because she's pretty young, right? She's like 24, 23, something like that.
Maybe.
I think he's going to end up with someone with maybe a little more life experience who has a little better idea of like the gravity of the situation with being a step parent. But I hope that Sierra finds somebody because
Yeah, I sure hope so
she's
too.
a dime. Okay, so there's that. And then Jacob is really a hot commodity. That cracked me up between Kira, Lace, and Haley.
When Brandon was in the ITM and he goes, well, Jacob, he's like, is apparently the king of paradise. And he's like, who? And he's dying laughing. He goes, who would have thought Jacob? My God. Also, quick side note,
God.
Brandon and Serene, we have barely seen in these 2 episodes because they are coasting in their love.
Yeah.
They are fully in love. Brandon is literally sleeping in every corner of paradise with Serene cuddled up on him. He's giving the advice to everybody like, hey, are you good? Are you good? I am so obsessed with the fact that the love of our lives got on Paradise, and so far it has been a beautiful experience.
I was really worried he was going to be gone after 2 days.
Yes, I know. And what we are seeing, and I'm going to cross my fingers for, is that we're just witnessing him meeting his wife, and this is just the most beautiful thing
there's
ever.
always like that one couple, and they definitely are that one couple.
The preview for next week,
And what part of
I'm going to make you watch it after. There's a preview, and they're on the sand together. They're having then a date later, and Serene
that's right.
is
Yeah,
crying,
yeah.
and she's like, no one has ever looked at me or said those things, and he's like, I'm falling in love with you, and it is so beautiful, and I'm just like, yes, it makes me so happy. Anywho, but Jacob is really,
oh my God, what cracked me up too is that he was the hot commodity between 3 of them. Really got to, it was so funny too because I love how with Lace he's like Bachelor legend. I'm like, oh, you're a fan, Jacob.
oh, you're a fan.
Like,
well, when he gave her the rose, he goes, you're an icon. Dead.
I'm like, damn, she hasn't been on the show in like 7 years, and so he's a fan.
But this is what I believe about Jacob too, and I believe this deeply in my spirit, is that even if he's never seen any episode, that one of the people on the sand go, by the way, was on a bunch of seasons,
right?
And he's like,
icon,
legend,
icon. For
I gotta
sure.
I gotta hop in. I gotta lock in with this one, and he goes a series of making out with 3 women in a row.
Oh my God. And then I was actually a little surprised he ended up giving it to Lace. Akira had a whole performance ready,
She had the matching outfit with him, and she was really bummed out.
I know.
She was really upset when he did not choose her, and I felt the same way. I thought it was for sure going to be Dr. Kira.
I know.
But no, he went with the legacy.
The legacy.
He went with the Bachelor legacy.
Me up because once again, of course, when Lace has the rose the next day, when Jacob said his whole thing about Hong Kong, the strip club in Tijuana, her response though cracked me up where she literally was like, ew, stay away from me. Like, don't touch me.
Well, and then did you see then a clip of them later in the episode where he's like, yeah, I'm super into you. And she's like, yeah, we're going to be taking our time. Like she made some comment to him. It was a different scene. And she's like, yeah, we're going to figure something out. Like we're going to take our time. And then the second Rodney comes down, Lace is like, bye, Jacob.
Oh my God. That was funny to me. Oh man. So that's Jacob. All right. So, and of course, Ashley and Jared are there during that next episode, giving advice, doing their thing as the Batch alum do.
Yes. Love Ashley. And then also there was a clip of them, by the way, in the preview.
Oh, I know. I'm like, does he get food poisoning?
Of him just like farting it up. But I'm also like, why? They're still here. Love. But like, what's happening?
Why are they staying in the fantasy
Why
suite?
are they also part of the preview? That they're like jet skiing around and like, we're having a little second honeymoon. I'm like, what?
Why?
What?
Why? I don't know. But by the way, the women who went home, Kira, Haley, and Hunter, was there anyone else? No one else. Okay, should we get to Rodney?
let's talk about Rodney and Teddy and Andrew.
Yes.
I mean, Rodney comes down, and Evan, by the way, is literally sitting next to me watching this and like grabs my hand and squeezes it. And he's like, I'm so happy Rodney's here.
Okay, whose season was he on?
Michelle's.
Why I remember him being a nice guy, but like, I don't remember being obsessed with him. And I'm like confused.
We loved him. Everyone loved Rodney. Rodney was just like, the whole cast was obsessed with Rodney. Everyone, because he's just the kindest, most lovely person.
I feel like I didn't see anything of him on that season.
We saw a fair amount.
Okay,
fair
decent.
amount. Yeah. But
I remember he's a nice guy, but I'm not feeling the excitement everyone else
remember
is.
how they used his underdog line for Clayton's poster, and everyone was like, how is Clayton the underdog?
No. Don't remember any of this.
The poster came out with Clayton, and it was like something about rooting for the underdog, and everyone was like, that's Rodney's line. Like, what is happening right now?
Was everyone saying that for Rodney, or did Rodney say that?
Rodney was saying that about himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just really don't remember anything but Brandon from that season, apparently.
Yeah, we're all just like, the only
I barely
thing
even remember
is
Nate.
Michelle and Brandon. No, Evan was literally next to me squeezing.
That's what I'm saying.
He was squeezing my hand, and he was like, oh man, I'm so happy, my guy. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I gotta ask, I know Gray doesn't remember him either. I know that neither of us remember him.
Rodney is just, he showed up as an apple on the first episode. And he's just a illuminating light of joy and tenderness. And clearly everyone was waiting for him on the beach. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because not only are the men thrilled that he is there, the women are like, oh my God, it's Rodney.
Right. So finally Jill's ears have perked up.
Jill's like, hell yes. And he was on her list. I remember reading it. Like I said last week.
Yes.
He was one of her main people she wanted to meet.
Yes.
Is Rodney. And he was, by the way, on numerous people's lists. I remember seeing. People were like, Rodney.
Yes. So that conversation seemed to go, I mean, yeah, he's a sweetie, so she's excited about that. And then Teddy.
Yes. So we get a little bit of foreshadowing with Teddy.
Because she's talking to Ashley.
When her and Ashley I have a conversation.
So like how Ashley was like, oh, that's how Jared was with me. And she's kind of like, no. You know, like you could tell she's like, we don't have a future together.
We see the foreshadowing, and we find out through, again, this is where the production is taking some interesting turns this season, where we don't get clear-cut exact answers of what happened, but we do hear from her and then him, to certain extents, that there were expectations going in of them meeting each other. Whether that was audience expectations and everyone was rooting for them to meet, them maybe DMing, whatever that might have been, there was pressure for both of them that they would be meeting each other, and they really liked each other. But then, like Jill said, sometimes you can't create chemistry.
Right.
And so we see Teddy having this moment of like, oh my God, I really like him, but there's just something that's not quite there.
I remember saying this on Andrew was on Katie's? Yeah, Katie's season. I remember saying it on Katie's season, but like, I know Andrew's like 28, but he has just always given me the vibe of like a 21, 22-year-old. Like, he's just a little, in my opinion, a little like immature in love, I guess I'll say.
I will say though, Becca, the way that Andrew handled that was one of the most mature relationship moves I've ever seen on this
immature
show.
By the way, let me put this caveat. Not immature in that, like, not relationship immature, like doesn't know how to communicate. No, it's like a energy.
He's very youthful energy.
Young, you know, where it's like I could see Teddy's a little like serious. Like she's a little more, so I could see her like, I think that like he just has the energy of like, I'm making out with like a sophomore in high school, kind of like.
Totally.
That's what I'm talking about.
And we talked about it last week. We were like, oh, we don't think that Teddy and Andrew are going to continue. We would see her with someone maybe a little bit older than Andrew, or having older energy than Andrew, because he does. He has that very...
Because Brandon's a similar age, right? I mean, he's 28. Like...
No, he just has a youthful energy. The way that this was handled was, I think, the most perfect example of like communication on the beach we may have ever seen ever.
Wow.
And I'm going to stand by that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to stand by it, because Teddy was processing these things, right? And I also so related, because I was just thinking about, there was a time when Evan and I were broken up, and there was this guy, not the one that my ex that I couldn't stand, but like this one guy that I started to, casually date. And I remember I thought he was so cute, and he just like was so fun, had the best personality, and I loved being around him and everything. But there was just something that it's just an unspoken thing that just wasn't quite there. And I remember feeling tortured about it, because I'm like, I don't want to lose this person, because maybe is it me? But there's just something missing, and I don't know how to communicate this without hurting this individual, because I genuinely, like, it's not, I can't explain it.
Right, yeah.
And I felt that so much for Teddy. But the fact that Teddy started to feel those things, they had been obviously separated. The women with Ashley, I, the men with Jared. Maybe we didn't see the men.
Yeah.
But then they're finally sitting together, and then Rodney comes down. This is the first opportunity that Teddy can try to pull Andrew aside, and Teddy does not wait until Rodney asks her out. It wasn't like, oh, Rodney asked me out, and now I'm processing this, and I want to talk to Andrew before, which would have been totally fine.
Yeah.
She beforehand pulls him aside to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And obviously she's grieving. Like, she is like tripping about the fact that, like, I don't want to hurt him because he's such a lovely guy, but there's something that's just not there. And then how Andrew was just like, I felt like we could make this work. I do feel like there's something, but like, I can't force that on you. And like, I wish you nothing but the best, but this sucks. And I felt like it was such beautiful communication, because it was done beforehand. It didn't get drawn out. Also, there was no trying to convince, but then there wasn't like this fake, let's hug it out and we're all good and let it boil down. Like, when she walked away, they didn't hug. Andrew was upset. Like, he was sad. She was upset.
Right.
It was just so honest, but also so gracious. I just was in shock. I was like, that's it.
Well, I was in shock that she left.
Yeah, I was surprised about that too. What was your take on that?
Oh, I think she was just like overwhelmed and was just emotional. I mean, like, look, it's the typical Bachelor thing. It's like you're sleep deprived. There's drama going on all around you. It's hot. You're overstimulated. You've been in like 5-hour-long interviews. I think it was just, she was like overstimulated by the whole experience, and then feeling horrible, and then it was just like, I can't. I wish she had stayed.
I mean, I would have loved to have her on the sand. I was getting the energy a little bit that she said that she came here to meet Andrew, and then she also asked Andrew, like, if you knew I wouldn't have been here, would you have come? Like, would you have come even if I wasn't? He said probably not. So she came down with the intent of meeting Andrew, and I kind of got the vibe that it was a little bit like, if it's not going to work, I'm not going to put myself in a situation where then production could try to fuck with me. Yeah. And then end up doing a whole different narrative, and then bring a woman out for Andrew, and then have me start to trip. Like, I'm just going to like cut it off before it can get messy, because I'm here to meet Andrew and it didn't work and I'm done. She seems to me like, whenever you see her on screen, that she's a little quieter and like observing everything. Yeah. I'm like, she knows that if she says to them, let me just talk to Serene and tell her, because that's my best friend, that they're going to bamboozle her in Jill's words, and bring in a bunch of people and try to convince her to stay. And it's like, I don't want to be convinced. I'm leaving right now. If I go down on the sand, everyone's going to try to convince me. Everyone's going to be crying. It'll be a whole thing. I'm out.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm all about it. I'm like, I would do the same thing. If I was like, I'm done. I'm going to pull the goodbye without saying, and then I'll text my friend as soon as I get my phone back and be like, babe, I'm so sorry. I love you, but like, I'm out.
Wow. Y'all really would do that to us. I'd be sobbing. They're sobbing.
I know, but I would be dead. But then I'd be texting you on the side and be like, girl, I love you. I just didn't want the producers to pull me into something that I didn't want to be pulled into.
I mean, I'm saying she should have stayed as a viewer.
I know, just
but like, I mean, let's be real.
As a viewer, I will miss Teddy.
But I do feel, okay, jokes aside though, or selfishness aside, I do feel like Teddy like is the kind of girl she could have actually like found someone, like someone else might have come down who she would have like really vibed with. Ultimately, she didn't have a good time. She ended up getting really sad about having to hurt someone and then like left, which is the reason too I'm like, she could have really found someone because she's a genuine and real person, but she'll find someone in her own time. It's not that big of a deal. But, you know, I would like to see obviously more drama and romance unfold.
Do you think that Andrew will find someone?
No, but he's going to date more women and will probably leave.
Oh.
He'll be
fine.
fine
For him.
He'll be fine. He's got his crew. He'll go back and brunch with Greg.
And listen, I know how you feel about with Andrew, but I think he's been just so lovely on this season. He's just been so lovely.
Yeah. He's not a bad guy. He annoys me.
I just think he's so sweet.
He's so annoying to me.
He's so sweet. I'm trying to think. Is there anything
Justin
else?
is also in that crew of like Andrew and Greg, and that just like rolls around brunch, just feeling like they're the hottest things around. But you know, Justin's really nice too, so I like him. So you know, it is what it is.
I'm trying to think. Is that the gist? Well, I think that's the main...
I think that's pretty much it.
The main drama. Of course, there's little moments in between, but Lord knows with 2 episodes back to back, you can really only gather so much.
Honestly, I thought that was pretty smooth though for recapping 2 episodes.
Yeah, you know what?
Well
we did a nice thorough through both episodes. I think maybe
that's before we're gonna have 15 people added to the beach next week.
Oh yeah, when is the whole Casa Amor thing gonna happen?
Also, like,
it didn't look like it was next week.
You also said it was like the largest cast like ever, and honestly, right now we have not had very many new people.
True,
right? Like the only people we had really show up this week were like Victoria and the twins. They're just
gonna do the Casa Amor thing, and then they're probably going to like at some point next week drop an entire new cast. Like it'll be like 14 new people, just like they'll just walk right in. That's a mind fuck.
They're gonna
have a whole entire new cast show up. Incredible.
Well, they're gonna have to. I'm sure they're gonna drop like 5 new guys before the women's rose ceremony.
Love.
Can't wait.
Yes, because the women have the roses this week.
It is such an interesting game. I do feel like no one's really like playing the game as much so far this year. Do you know what I'm saying? Like.
That's what
no one's being very strategic about this.
Something feels interesting to me about it.
Right?
And I feel like I say that every season where I'm like, something feels different.
Yeah. I mean,
which I guess is a whole new cast of people, so it will. But I don't know. Something feels different.
We did not see before the men's rose ceremony. I mean, this is just one thing I noticed. We did not see a lot of women like trying to get a guy to give them a rose.
True.
I mean, there was the girls who were all vying for Jacob, but like that even wasn't that dramatic.
Yeah, I guess the thing that was interesting was again the 12-minute montage of Wells and perhaps some producer pretending to be Sally and a producer. I'm never going to get over it. I'm never going to get over Genevieve's facial expressions when they were talking about putting the producer in the trunk.
She was like, no way!
For 4 hours. In the trunk for 4 hours. I'm like, this sounds like something a producer would do of this show. Be put in a trunk for 4 hours.
Genevieve's like, stop. Which producer? Oh my God.
Oh my God, I know them.
I'm like, so Genevieve, we're supposed to believe that you didn't think it was Sally's suitcase because there was a waffle iron in it? Okay. With peace and love, I'm not buying that one. Because you were behind everything they were feeding to you.
My
which
God.
is why she's great. She's perfect for Paradise. It's like she and Aaron both. They're going to just like hook, line, and sinker every bait from the producers. And they're happy to do it.
And you know what? Like I said, I really do believe it'll be explosive, and then she'll end up going with Aaron, and then he'll end up finding someone else, and then it'll be explosive again with them. And then I'm going to predict right now that they both leave the beach.
Together?
No.
Okay, yeah.
But on their own terms.
Oh, they're going to, each one separately is going to decide to leave. Mm-hmm. And something will have happened after filming, by the way, that they're going to talk about on After Paradise.
Absolutely. In San Diego, but of course. The hub of the capital of Bachelor
They're
Nation.
the gift that keeps on giving.
And you know what? Aaron will leave and James will stay. He will continue to be there.
Until they kick him out when it's the final
Even
couples.
though they're big facts bestie bros, he will end up being one of the final couples. And he won't get engaged, but somehow, he'll be on the sand applauding.
Well, with that, broads,
tune in for the bros and
Chat
for our
soon.
episode next week. And we'll chat soon. Love you.